In an emotional moment that stunned viewers, Jon Gosselin opened up about the heartbreaking estrangement from his daughter. Fighting back tears, he delivered a powerful message, laying bare the pain and hope that countless parents silently endure. Today, we're diving deep into Jon's candid revelation, the untold truths behind their fractured relationship, and what he desperately wants his daughter to know. A fragile father-daughter bond. From the outside, Jon Gosselin appeared to be living a dream: 8 children, a nationally televised show, and a once glowing marriage. But beyond the bright lights, a quiet storm was brewing. Over time, the pressures of raising sextuplets and twins, coupled with non-stop filming, took a heavy toll. Jon struggled with conflicting emotions, wanting to protect his children from the cameras yet relying on the show's income for support. When his marriage with Kate ended publicly in 2009, everything shifted. Jon lost a sense of normalcy, and the heartbreak extended to each of his 8 children. Among them, his daughter Maddie became an especially painful source of regret. She once looked up to him with admiration. Now, communication between father and daughter has all but disappeared. Jon recently confessed in a heartbreaking interview that he hasn't spoken to Maddie or her twin sister Kara in more than a decade. This estrangement runs deeper than anyone realizes. For Jon, it's not merely a case of kids growing older and drifting away. It's a wound he wrestles with daily. He recalls tender father-daughter moments that once defined their connection. Now he's left wishing for even a simple phone call. The heartbreak became more evident when Maddie publicly made troubling allegations about her brother Colin, accusing him of hateful behavior. Jon believes these words originated from Kate's influence. His response: "I don't accept this," he said firmly. He claims the narrative Maddie shared does not align with the Colin he knows. In that same interview, Jon admitted how powerless he feels. Legal battles, personal differences, and the glare of media coverage created a gulf that seems impossible to bridge. He spoke about how Kate pushed him to the sidelines, leaving him isolated from 6 of the children. Colin and Hannah, by contrast, chose to live with him, forging a separate life from their siblings. Though that closeness gave Jon some comfort, it also magnified the distance that has grown between him and his other daughters. Maddie, once the energetic little girl fans saw on TV, is now 22 years old. Much has changed, including her perspective on family history. She rarely mentions Jon in public, and when she does, it's typically laced with tension. Jon aches for a clean slate, but every attempt at communication seems to crumble under years of pent-up resentment. He claims Kate's narrative has alienated him from his children, yet he stops short of placing blame entirely on her. He recognizes that each child forms their own opinions, albeit shaped by a complex past. The result? A fractured relationship that leaves Jon in tears whenever he reflects on how quickly things fell apart. The father who once held Maddie's hand through life's small fears now watches from afar, uncertain if he'll ever be invited back into her life. Tensions after the spotlight. Life outside reality television didn't deliver the peace Jon Gosselin hoped it would. After the show ended, every one of his actions became fodder for gossip sites. Though he found intermittent work, from waiting tables to DJing, he felt the eyes of strangers judging him everywhere he went. He admits the transition from a life of cameras to mundane daily routines was jarring. Yet, ironically, he never truly escaped the public gaze because his family drama kept pulling him back into headlines. Kate continued filming spin-offs with their children, which Jon believed only deepened the divide. He had wanted to safeguard the kids' privacy following the divorce, but claimed Kate saw it differently. For her, continuing the show provided financial stability. Whenever Jon tried to object, he was painted in an unflattering light. Tension escalated as allegations of parental alienation surfaced. Jon felt he was being systematically edged out of his children's lives, especially Maddie's. Today, Maddie is vocal on social media, occasionally calling out the family's fractured history. Jon says he reads each public statement, torn between frustration and sorrow. In mid-2023, Maddie made claims about Colin's behavior, suggesting harmful tendencies that Jon fiercely denied. He accuses Kate of feeding Maddie these perceptions, though he also recognizes Maddie is old enough to form her own conclusions. Still, He wonders if there's any chance to mend what's been broken. When Jon recently addressed Mady directly in an interview, he spoke with a trembling voice. After being asked if he had a message for his estranged daughter, he said, "I still love my daughter. I want her to know that." But he also pleaded for compassion toward Colin, insisting Mady had no first-hand knowledge of her brother's life in recent years. Jon contends that Colin has shown remarkable growth, even enlisting in the Marine Corps. The accusations, he believes, are baseless remnants of their turbulent past. All the while, the legal complexities continue. Custody agreements, protection orders, and the bitter legacy of their televised drama hinder any straightforward reconciliation. Jon confesses that he's tried reaching out to Mady and Kara repeatedly, only to be met with silence. While he doesn't blame them entirely, he mentions the influence of negative stories that linger long after the cameras stop rolling. One factor that adds complexity is the relationship between siblings who chose different paths. Hannah and Colin remain on Jon's side, forging an unbreakable bond with their father. The rest stay with Kate, rarely communicating with Jon or each other. As they transition to adulthood, the hope was that these young adults would form independent viewpoints separate from parental conflict. Instead, old wounds persist. In how the media influences his children's perception. She also acknowledges his flaws, saying Jon sometimes lets his frustration get the better of him. But she sees a man who genuinely wants to be a part of his children's lives. Even on days when laughter briefly returns to their household, the next news cycle can trigger old frustrations. Much of this conflict, Jon insists, plays out beyond what the public sees. Critical documents, endless legal maneuvers, and personal messages remain locked away from curious eyes. Jon is convinced that if the full story emerged, public opinion would shift. Yet he's cautious about exposing more details, fearing it could further damage any slim chance of reconnecting with Mady and the others. The idea of a family reunion is so fraught that Jon avoids imagining it in detail. He says it's simpler to focus on small victories, like Colin's progress or Hannah's bright outlook on life. He calls these moments his lifeline. But the heartbreak never truly fades, especially regarding Mady. In rare moments of vulnerability, Jon admits he fears she won't recognize him the next time they meet. The father who used to sing his daughter lullabies is now consumed by the question of whether love is enough to bridge the profound gaps that exist behind closed doors. Each day, he clings to hope, despite the heartbreak that shadows every moment. Yet hope can be fragile, just like family ties. Kate's unyielding stance. Over the years, Kate Gosselin has been labeled controlling, protective, and fiercely independent. Although she rarely addresses Jon directly, her actions speak volumes. After the divorce, she continued her media appearances, explaining that she needed income to provide for the children. Critics questioned whether she was truly prioritizing her kids or chasing fame. Kate's supporters, however, argue that no matter her motivations, she kept food on the table and a roof over their heads. Jon disagrees with many of Kate's decisions, particularly her willingness to keep the cameras rolling. He insists that the unrelenting attention robbed Maddie, Kara, and the sextuplets of a normal childhood. Kate, on the other hand, has maintained that the children were comfortable with filming. She believes the show offered them privileges they might never have experienced otherwise. Trips, gifts, and opportunities poured in, all because of their television presence. Whenever Jon objected, Kate stood her ground, suggesting he was just bitter about his fading role. This stalemate only grew worse once Colin and Hannah moved in with Jon. Kate publicly expressed disappointment, asserting that those two children were manipulated. Her remarks about Colin often hinted at behavioral issues that demanded specialized care. Jon contends that Kate inflated these issues to justify sending Colin away, effectively removing him from the household. The bitterness between them has now spilled over into Maddie's public remarks. Kate hasn't condemned Maddie's statements about Colin, which Jon finds telling. It suggests, in his view, that Kate supports a narrative portraying Colin as troubled. When confronted about the estrangement of 6 children from Jon, Kate's stance has been ambiguous. She claims they chose their path, implying that Jon's own actions drove them away. She refuses to discuss specific incidents, citing the need to protect the family's privacy. Yet there's a sense that she wields significant influence over their opinions of Jon. He laments that the kids only know one side of the story. Kate, however, likely believes her perspective is accurate. In 2023, Kate made brief statements to the press, emphasizing her unwavering love for all 8 children. Observers noted that she carefully avoided mentioning Jon by name. When asked about future reconciliation, she gave no clear answers, focusing instead on the well-being of the children. While outsiders clamor for a big family reunion, Kate isn't swayed. She has adopted a posture of caution, determined not to budge unless she believes it serves her children's best interests. Whether Kate is driven by genuine concern or a need for control remains fiercely debated. To Jon, she's an immovable force who resists any attempt at compromise. Still, he holds on to the hope that she might one day see the value of healing old wounds. For now, Kate's unwavering stance remains a pivotal obstacle. Each passing day, it fuels the sorrow and confusion that keep Maddie and her siblings at a distance, leaving Jon to wonder if their fractured world can ever be mended. His estranged daughter's constant silence weighs heavily, emphasizing Kate's unwavering stance. Maddie's perspective. To the public, Maddie Gosselin was once the spunky twin who threw witty remarks at her siblings on national television. As she grew older, glimpses of her teenage years showed someone grappling with the spotlight's harsh glare. Now in her early 20s, Maddie has become a focal point of the Gosselin family drama, largely through social media. Her voice resonates with fans who remember her as a child. Yet, her perspective is complicated, shaped by years of living under Kate's roof and barely any contact with Jon. Maddie's sporadic posts often reveal frustration toward the family's past, although she rarely names Jon outright. However, her stance against Colin grabbed attention this year when she portrayed him as verbally and physically aggressive. The statement set off a wave of backlash, with many fans questioning why she would accuse her brother without apparent evidence. Jon interpreted these posts as echoes of Kate's long-standing view that Colin has deep-rooted issues. Maddie, however, hasn't backed down or offered a retraction, even though she later deleted some posts. Her followers speculate she's caught between loyalty to Kate and a desire to break free from the chaos. Some believe she's never processed the divorce properly, lacking a healthy bitterness. Mid-sentence, his voice began to quiver, and he struggled to maintain composure. For a moment, the confident father figure disappeared, replaced by a man who could no longer hold back his grief. The cameras captured the tears rolling down his cheeks as he finally addressed the heartbreak he's kept silent for so long. "I just want her to know," Jon began, voice trembling, "that no matter what she thinks of me, I've never stopped loving her. I've never stopped hoping she would call." Those words, simple as they were, carried the weight of a decade of missed birthdays, unreturned messages, and the lingering shadow of a divorce that changed everything. In that moment, any image of Jon as merely the rebellious ex-husband evaporated, replaced by a father pleading for a connection with his estranged daughter. He recalled small, cherished memories. Mady, at age 5, dancing in the living room. Mady, perched on his lap while reading bedtime stories. Mady, giving him that bright, playful grin whenever she wanted something. Every recollection seemed to intensify his anguish. "I remember every laugh, every hug," he said, wiping his eyes. "I'd give anything to have that again." As he continued, Jon revealed a heartbreaking message he had written for Mady years ago, but never sent. He'd poured out his regrets, his desire to fix what was broken, and his willingness to do whatever it took to be her dad again. "I kept waiting for the right moment," Jon admitted, voice cracking. "But the moment never came. And now, here I am, still waiting, still praying she'll somehow see this and understand I'm not the man she's been led to believe I am." In the days following that interview, clips of Jon in tears circulated widely online. Many viewers reached out with compassion, urging Mady to respond. Others accused Jon of staging an emotional display to gain sympathy. His close friends and girlfriend Stephanie insisted that his tears were genuine. They spoke of the countless nights he'd lie awake, replaying old photos and videos of the kids. Stephanie remarked how even the simplest reminders, a commercial featuring twins, a father-daughter dance on TV, could send him spiraling into sorrow. Jon knows that a viral clip might not mend the rift, but he felt compelled to speak publicly. "I can't control what she believes," he said softly, "but I can let her see my heart. And this is it, raw, broken, and still full of love for her." To him, vulnerability is the only bridge left when every other path seems blocked. That day, Jon's tears were more than just a poignant moment for cameras. They revealed the depth of his regret and the unwavering love he still holds for Mady, the daughter he longs to embrace once again. Public reaction was swift, showing both empathy and doubt, yet the father's tears spoke volumes. A family still divided. Months after Jon's emotional interview went viral, the Gosselin family remained fractured. Colin expressed his support for Jon, emphasizing the positive relationship they've built. Hannah, too, continued standing by her father, often posting cheerful updates that showcased a newfound sense of normalcy in their household. Yet the other siblings, including Mady, kept their distance. No public statements were issued to address Jon's tearful plea. Behind the scenes, tension simmered. Sources close to Kate alleged she was enraged by Jon's interview, viewing it as a manipulation tactic. She reportedly questioned his motives, insisting he should focus on direct communication, not media appearances. But Jon claimed he had no way to reach Mady privately. In his view, going public was the last resort, a desperate attempt to break through a wall of silence. Meanwhile, Kara, who has rarely spoken about the family drama, was rumored to be quietly supporting Mady. The twins have always been close, and some speculate that Kara shares Mady's skepticism toward Jon. Both sisters continue to attend college, forging paths that keep them away from home. As for the younger siblings who remain with Kate, their perspectives remain largely unknown. Social media posts from them are sparse, and Kate protects their privacy with determination. The possibility of a group reunion seems distant. The grown children now have their own schedules, dreams, and friendships, making the idea of everyone gathering under one roof look even more implausible. Holidays come and go without any public indication of reconciliation. On Jon's side, he attempts to focus on the positive environment he's fostering for Colin and Hannah. However, the absence of his other 6 kids looms like a dark cloud. Stephanie has tried to mediate, albeit discreetly. She believes in open communication and once encouraged Jon to try sending letters. According to her, each letter was either returned unopened or never acknowledged. That silence, she says, crushes him more than any public criticism ever could. Friends mention Jon's mood swings. Hopeful one day, despondent the next. The longing for Mady's acceptance appears to weigh especially heavy on his mind. Meanwhile, media outlets remain fascinated by the family's ongoing strife. Documentaries, podcasts, and talk shows frequently revisit the story, analyzing every statement for hidden meaning. Each new rumor sparks fresh debate among fans who remember watching Jon, Kate, and their 8 children navigate everyday chaos on television. The initial appeal of Jon and Kate plus 8 has faded, replaced by heartbreak and a complex narrative riddled with allegations from all sides. To outsiders, the solution might seem simple. Pick up the taken. After all, missing a few years of milestones is one thing. Missing an entire decade is something else entirely. Outside voices, from media commentators to armchair psychologists, endlessly weigh in. They debate who is at fault, who exploited whom, and whether redemption is even feasible at this stage. Jon has grown weary of these narratives. He insists that he's moved past caring about public perception. His primary concern remains re-establishing a bond with each child on a personal level. In particular, the estrangement from Mady gnaws at him, given how close they once were. Meanwhile, Colin's progress in the Marine Corps brings Jon pride and relief. Watching Colin turn his struggles into